Yeah.
So I didn't even realize. So what's this done for me is it's not that this is new. I've tried it on many occasions, the body scanning and trying not to
Mhm.
label and do all that stuff. But I really became aware that I am analyzing, I am uh,
Yeah.
describing. And then it said, feel the sensation, no labels, no commentary. It didn't stop. The commentary and labels didn't stop. And then what I became aware of, I'm just bouncing, doing it wrong,
Mhm.
doing it wrong, stop, stop, doing it wrong. Um, and it's just anxiety all over the place.
Mhm. Mhm.
But by trying it, and for some reason, I've just felt more conscious about what was going on. It just shone a light on what's happening.
Mhm. Interesting.
And I suppose that's the first step, right?
Yeah. I mean, you you are always in the first step. The first step is always noticing what's happening. So we never move from this step. What we are looking at can seem more agitated or more calm, but we are always our natural state. It is to be sensitive and to be aware of what is happening. And as you say, when you notice the agitation, something happened, right? There is some realization, I guess, because the way you spoke is like I notice how my mind is moving, how it's just jumping constantly, and how feeling the body is not as simple as it as we think it is.
But how you described it right now is kind of blowing my mind because I had, even though I've heard it before, I've been missing it.
Mhm.
So we're always at the first step,
Yeah.
noticing. What I immediately get caught into trying to fix the noticing.
Mhm. But you see, the way you speak, it's I understand, but it's not very accurate because
Okay.
you are not the one trying to fix it. You perceive the energy of thought. You perceive the finite mind that is trying to do something about it. That is spinning thoughts and concept and idea about how it should be, and how to resolve it. Yeah. So even when you see this, of course, this voice speak as in I, right? In your mind. This voice is not yours, but it's always speaking I. So I understand. Uh, I'm not playing games with words here. I'm simply using words to point you to this first step, which is the I want to change this. But I'm noticing the movement of I want to change this. So I am again, I am in the I didn't move again. Even if thoughts seemingly make me feel and that there is a movement, but I didn't move really.
There's an energy here right now that's trying to understand.
Mhm.
It's just simple overthinking. I hear your words. they resonate. The end. But there's the uproar
Mm.
of, I guess it's thought, emotion, activation, trying to understand.
Interesting.
And I want you to tell me how to stop understanding and just be with what is noticing.
You see, when I hear, even within myself, when I hear I want to stop this energy of wanting to stop something, it's a rejection of something. It's like, I don't like this. I don't want this. I want something else. This is not good. This is when I hear stop something, that's that's yeah, that's the opposite of acceptance, right? So if I say stop to something, I'm being very violent with my experience. And if I try to negate this and to fool myself into acceptance while this energy is present is even worse, right? Because so that's why it's so powerful to be with sensation, because something in you say stop, okay? But often, even if in this energy of saying stop, there is often two layers. One is thought. Thought had a story about what is happening, what should happen, and how to solve it. Yeah, this is the stop of the mind in a way. But often the mind says stop, often because there is a deeper sensation that is very uncomfortable.
Right.
So what we really want to stop is not really the story and the thought. The real issue is the felt sense of intensity or or feeling uncomfortable. That's the real struggle.
Yes.
Right now, we can all do this. If right now we feel our feet on the floor, often when we feel our feet, there is no stop, there is no story, there is simply sensing, simply feet, nothing going on. And often the finite mind get very bored, so it goes into stories. But if you are able to feel the feet, you see there is no story, there's no rejection, there is the sensitivity that is kind of your awareness is touching the sensation gently, effortlessly, without story, without drama. But
Okay.
but if you go up and you start to feel more in the chest, often that's a different story in the chest. In the chest, that's where there is a lot of stories and emotions stored.
So I'm feeling my feet. And there are stories swirling around. Am I
Mhm.
doing this right? Are my feet planted right? I notice, and oh, there's sensation coming down from the leg. These are all stories swirling. So there's two things going on here. I understand what you're
Mhm.
saying. Um, there's just sensation in the feet. But at the same time, all the stories are happening too.
Yeah, yeah. But but they are happening in their own dimension, if I can use this word.
And I'm identifying with that dimension.
Mm, I don't know if you identify with it or not. I'm just saying that if you pay attention, the layer of thinking is appearing just as the sensation of your feet is appearing. You see? It's not that one have more value or you have to fight one to get the other. It's simply they're both appearing. But only often we are very hypnotized with only one. And one is real and everything else is secondary and is nothing almost. But when you broaden, you see, no, a sensation, it's present, it's an actuality, it's a powerful experience.
And this is where the mind wants only one happening and wants to understand the one happening. This is so helpful, David.
Hmm.
It is.
Okay. I'm happy it is helpful because often, I develop this tool by myself and I never know how people will receive it. So thank you very much for sharing.
Well, it's been received, and it feels like in the solar plexus.
Mm.
And I just see all the other energies going around wanting to debate it or just go on about it. Yeah.
Mm.
But something is being received in the way you're describing it.
But let it happen. This is from what I am understanding, this is a real understanding. Exactly this, like something is received, something is happening. I cannot describe what's happening, what's going on, but something is going on. You see, what you are is noticing something is going on. It's kind of growing in sensitivity, like discovering something new. And the mind doesn't get it because it happened in a deeper layer, if you want to say. So it is impossible for the mind to grasp what's going on. So often you get agitated and afraid. But the more you learn to let to let things be, you will grow in trust and in sensitivity, and you will see that the mind is very good. It's very, very powerful for logistics, yeah, for mathematics, for analyzing. But to be happy and to know who you are is useless. Is useless. All the books are not there to to explain you who you are. They are here only to show you that this finite mind limitation, to show you the the boundaries of what you can understand from a limited mind, from a limited perspective. But you have tools, our sensitivity as awareness is infinite. So we have other ways to engage with experience than through thought. And those other ways are way more harmonious from our perspective. Yeah. But in my approach, you don't negate anything. When you perceive the thought, you know that there's something in the plexus and the thought, right? Okay, that's here. That's also here. But now I'm more interested in feeling this, what's going on in the chest, or what's going on there. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and I think I get confused with feeling. And when you use the word feeling, are you really meaning sensing?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's sensing.
without the stories or without the labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that the mind is binary? It's good or bad, black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it feels and when it try, because it can't, it doesn't know what a sensation is, but it guess. Okay. The mind guess what are sensations. But from its perspective, its limited perspective, it need to know if it's good or bad. And in most cases, when you dive deeper and deeper in your body, in your sensations, things will start to happen. And because they are unknown, the mind will get afraid and it will project fear onto it. It will suppose it's dangerous because it is new and it changes things. It will say this is dangerous. And that's why it try to get agitated and you have even more thoughts sometimes at the beginning. But over time you will get used to it. You'll get used to approach, to engage your experience from a direct perspective, directly without going through the layer of thoughts and its interpretation.
Okay. And there's something else that's a little confusing to me. So for instance, you have this wheel
Yeah,
and it's excellent. And I think what's happening is, okay, my mind's all excited. It's
yeah.
got a wheel.
I'm sorry about that.
But
It's a joke, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm listening to him. Yeah, you're excited.
and oh, your cat. And so let me give you a specific example. In my life, I'm dealing with chronic pain.
Yeah,
The chronic pain I'm dealing with is something called burning mouth syndrome. And my mouth feels like it's burning and on fire all the time. And of course, um, this is from a doctor's perspective, there's not much they can do. And
good.
from a mind body perspective, which I've been investigating, it's very much emotional based symptoms. And so I'm looking at your wheel and I'm going, oh, you've got burning on there. Okay. And I'm pinpointing these things.
Mhm.
And then going to emotions, looking at the emotions. But as I'm doing this, I'm getting confused. Okay, how do I just feel the sensation, meet the sensation for what it is, and then know what emotion it is? Like, is it anger eating me up? Is it resentment eating me up?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah. Okay, I get it
you're
now.
back into labels.
Yeah. Well, your question is it's about how to use the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I the intention often is to go off from the center to the wheel of proprioception with all of the
Okay.
colors,
Right.
or to go from the outside to the wheel of colors. Okay. Why? Because the struggle is what there are two ways that you struggle with the body often. Is from an emotional experience that is too much. So I am struggling with an emotion. What do I do with it? So with this, you start with the wheel of emotion, and then what is supporting is the little talk that is all around. It's a little bit to show you that all the tendency of an emotion to express itself. When you're sad, your tendency is to, you know, is to lay down your head, to kind of, to close your chest. It's not it's not always like this, but it's simply a little bit of showing that often the emotion have expressed themselves in some often very specific way. Like you cry when you are sad, but of course, you can cry when you are happy. So it's not like it's not rules. It's simply tendencies. Yeah. But the purpose is to learn to step out of the emotion or deeper into the emotion and entering into the somatic part without the story. So when you are there, you don't go back into emotion, because if you go back to emotion, you go back into the interpretation of the mind. Yeah. You go back and you stay there. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
And the other, it's for people often who are beginning, and it's very hard to go to, to I feel anger and to go directly into uh, pulsing. It's a pulse in my heart. Something
Mm,
is too hard. So there is the fourth wheel, like tense, relaxed, hot, cold, tight, open. This
right.
is also a way that you can enter. Like when you feel anger, you have this, because of my boss, because of money, because whatever. Okay, how do you feel in your body? I don't know how you feel. Okay, well, do you feel hot or cold? I feel hot.
Mm.
Okay, do you feel tight or open? Okay, I feel tight. Do you feel, and you can start to kind of narrow down in a broader, from a broader perspective. It's easier, to nail it down a little bit.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand now. Okay,
So often the purpose is to stay in the rainbow wheel in the middle. You see,
right.
because if you go into the emotion, you are into interpretation. But if you go too much outside, you are into interpretation again. Because
Yeah,
the head is a sensation, but saying that this sensation is a head is always it's already an interpretation to say it is something specific. So the game is a little bit to learn to stay more and more into the rainbow of non-conceptual experience.
right.
Yeah.
And something you just said to me really hit hard. You just said the sense, I think, okay, from what you said, I think the sensation is in my mouth.
Hmm.
But do I know that to be true?
Hmm. How do you know that there is a mouth?
Right,
That's an interpretation.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
See, there's a misconnect with non-dualism and somatic work. Non-dual and somatic work, for me, there's this disconnect. I'm trying to understand from my limited mindset. And so this is helping
Yeah.
because I really think the sensations in the mouth. And yeah, but is it? I haven't investigated it.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's exactly why I have developed this wheel. Because in the non-dual talk, often the body is completely overlooked.
Yeah.
Like there is no body, so somehow it's overlooked. But at the same time, people talk, not everyone, but some people talk about shadow work, which is emotion. But that emotion is almost only sensations. So often we overlook the body, and when we look at the body, is only to get rid of things, right? I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of my anger. I want to get rid of my tension. I want to get rid of my fear. So the approach to the body, it's very aggressive, you know. And this approach is all inclusive, all loving, all accepting approach of experience. And the sensation are a beautiful door, a beautiful end path to awaken from the imagination of the mind and to dissolve separation. It's very beautiful when you understand precisely how to do it, which is not an understanding mental. No, it's like what you are realizing right now. It's exactly this. That's exactly how. Yeah, that's a very. It's very subtle, but it's very precise. It is very simple. We just have to learn to tune that way, and that's really the beauty, and it resolves this conflict that we have between our understanding and our everyday life, which is mostly taking care of the body. 90% of you there as a human is taking care of the body for one reason or another. But non-duality said there is no body, there is nothing. So there is a huge dichotomy there. But through this process, you can really find the harmony.
Yeah. Yeah. The way you're explaining it, the symptoms I'm having are like a gift. They're really a doorway.
Yeah.
Um, and and I've been working with non-duality for a while and spirituality for a long time, and there's just something there's a disconnect here. And it
Mhm.
almost feels like this is helping find the doorway, the disconnect.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I can see that something's happening.
Yeah, something's happening.
Mhm.
And everything can be used. Everything is,
Yeah, of
yeah.
course. Everything can be used. Thoughts, perception, sensation, and many, many others. Because this is you. This is your radiance. This is you shining forth, all of experience. So anything that you take as an exploration, it's a valid exploration. You cannot, there is no wrong path. Again, you're always in step one. There is no one is in step two. There is no step two. There is always step one. And this is the step one.
Mm. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Glenda. I'm very happy that it is useful, and I'm surprised that you got it that fast, that easily. From what I'm seeing, so beautiful. Very happy that it is useful. That's its purpose. So I'm very, very happy about that. And this is what I was doing for years, but I never kind of thought about it or tried to, to analyze or to build a structure or a framework or anything. But as I'm seeing more and more that people struggle with thought and struggle with emotion and struggle, like you say, you see people in non-duality who are very articulate, but they are completely out of their body. And not in
Yes.
and not in a nice way. Not like I transcend the body, like there is something weird happening, like really a dissociation. No, like I'm everything, but this body is not kind of part of me, some kind of way. So somehow this just come up to me, like in a flash, I can say, and it just makes sense. It's like, oh, this can be very useful, very, very useful. So I'm still, I have just make it, I've just publish it, and now I'm developing ways that it can be used.
For years with the non-duality, cognitively, intellectually, I understand. I can get there's no me. And so I'm hungry for this non-dual.
Mm,
And, and but yet um, that in itself has created so much anger
mhm,
in 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 me. And um, like, what is wrong with me?
mhm,
Why can't I come to live this? My heart knows it well, not my heart, but my head knows it to be true. And the somatic, bringing the somatic in, and you just don't get that combination,
mm,
rarely in the right way. Because I can easily get caught up in the somatic and trying to understand my emotions and my past trauma and all that. But
mm,
what you just did in a few minutes, um, just showed me that doorway through the somatic, with the somatic. Yeah, I don't even know. I can't put it in words, but I'm excited to work with this.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
All I did is a point to you. I remind you that there is sensation here, and you can approach them without thought or concept.
But there's the misinterpretation of, and I've tried this before, like Pernilla and Todd and even Vince and some other places, they talk about just feel the sensations. And I was doing that. Well, I really wasn't. I thought I was until I saw this.
Exactly, exactly. This is exactly why what this tool is answering. People
Right.
believe that they are feeling their emotion, but they are still in the layer of thinking. They are still in the layer of thoughts.
Yes.
And what you did before, when you asked the question, but where is my mouth? Do I have a mouth? There you went to the emotion. From the emotion, you dive into the sensation, and then in the sensation, thought is there also, saying there is a mouth. But this is a neutral way. It's always neutral, right? Because the mouth, you don't feel like an emotion, but it's still thought. And you can dive deeper and you will see there is sensing. But there is no mouth, there is no head, there is no localization. There is a field of sensing. But it's very, like you say, it's very hard because it was for me, so I know how hard it is. So it is, you have to feel it once to understand. When you feel it once, it never goes away. You're like, ah, I get it now. So it's beautiful. You are exactly right. We think we are feeling the emotion, but we are still thinking. No, we are not thinking, but we are still focusing or, or engage in the activity of thought.
And there is an inner battle of I want to get rid of the sensation and I want to get something else, which is I think I'm getting um, to the core of who am I, or I'm going to get enlightened.
Ah,
And I'm at the same time, I'm going to get rid of my symptoms. You see?
yeah,
And this is the mind
that's the
interpretation
story. Yeah, yeah,
going on.
yeah.
And what you have just pointed to is the oneness of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are always in step one. When you mouth with heal, and you will have a beautiful release of this experience. Your body will feel things, and you will feel great joy, and things will happen. And then what? And then you are in step one, watching what's happening, isn't it? So the real, to me now, the real pleasure of non-duality, of living it and teaching it, is to transmit this sense of joy, of wonder, of experience, independently of what is going on. Human experience is very challenging in many different levels because human experience is survival. So it's challenging in many different ways. But there is something watching all of it. And the more you are in this perspective, the more you feel it, the more you embrace all you experience, which is sensing also, which is everything, all the perception and everything. So that's why it's a love story. I don't really like to use the word love because it's often misunderstood. But what you express, like, oh, but it's all of it. Yeah, that's love. That is this all-encompassing continuum that we are, that encompasses absolutely everything. That's beautiful to me.
It is a love story. And this word joy you talk about, I had a little bit of an epiphany last week with that. And I cannot relate to joy. Like, it's like, there is no joy here. And all I do is suffer and I want to get enlightened so I'll be free and all this. So on this one mind body video I was watching, they said, well, joy is an important part of a healing. And anyway, I was in conversation and I couldn't feel it. So I was in conversation with my brother with the same trauma background as me. And I was saying to him, what joy do you feel in your life? I was trying to get out of him what his joy was. And he looks at me and he says, I don't know. And as we shared not knowing our joy, all of a sudden, joy came in. This is
Mm.
so joyful sharing this with you. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's joyful. And then I said, oh, joy is not about this big thing. Joy is just wonder and awe and
Mm.
opening beyond the mind.
Exactly.
And this is what I'm feeling right now is there's just this joy. There is joy here because as I was lying on my bed earlier with your chart, trying to feel the sensations, it was like something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. And now with your explanation, there's nothing wrong with me.
No.
Everything's just happening the way it is. And that experience lying on the bed led to my questions, led to your guidance, and it opened something further.
Mm. Mm.
So the idea of satsang and bringing the questions, no matter how ridiculous they sound, they help open something.
Yeah. No question is ridiculous.
Yeah,
If a question appear, it need to be investigated.
yeah.
But you see, the joy that we are talking about is not an emotional joy.
No.
You see, that's the texture of how you have to approach everything. The field of sensing. It's not, we cannot explain this joy, but it's amazing. You know how amazing it is to feel a hand moving? Because there is no hand. So if you stay long enough, the hand disappears. But experience still here. Isn't that just miraculous? There is no hand, but I'm feeling a hand, and the hand disappears, but the sensation stay, and the hand appear again and disappear, and the hand. What the hell is going on? What just so it just nobody knows, which is funny. And even in our tragedy, there is joy and some kind of pleasure, even if we don't often don't perceive it or don't accept it. But there is. If we are sensitive enough, we will see. Because the real joy is our own present, is what we are. Yeah.
Mm.
But what we are is absolute dynamism. Yeah. So what you are, this enlightenment state that you want, this is enlightenment. Yeah. The the experience is shining from your being, and this is experiencing. This is infinity. If you disagree with this, it's not because it's not like this. It's simply because you play games with yourself or we lack sensitivity. But everyone is in step one. We are all the same and we are all together in this.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It really does.
Mm.
And in that joy, um, there's the past is feels erased, and 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 there is no future.
No,
It doesn't matter.
well, it's a thought, right?
Yeah.
So when you dive deep into sensation, you can't think and feel at the same time. So when you say the past get erased, I understand, but it was never really solid, it was never really there to begin with. When you think about yesterday, yesterday is here. It appears a thought. When you don't think, it gets erased, disappear. But even when I think about yesterday, there is no yesterday apart from the thought. So what is really present is activity of thinking, or what I name the field of thinking. Why field? Because it's kind of, you cannot really, no, you cannot pin down a thought precisely. And when you say the mind, what you're talking about is like, you cannot really place it anywhere. So it's more like a field, right? Like an energetic field of something. And thinking, because thinking, it's an activity, it's an ongoing stream that often stop or not, who cares? But you cannot pin down one thought. You cannot say this is one thought about yesterday. No, when you think about yesterday, there is event in it, and it just, it unfolds, it unfolds. There is, in yesterday, there is your birth, and there is the birth of the universe in it. In every thought, there is the full universe that come with it. So it's like a stream. It's like, it's like an ongoing activity. Just like when you go into the body, so sometimes when you meditate, people sit straight, you know, and be still. But the body is never still because when you say my body, you are really saying I feel a vibration, a sensation. So there is no stillness in the body ever. Just like thought, it's an ongoing field of sensing, of infinite vibration happening, which is wonderful. You are always in step one. When you I'm step one, you are remembering I am presence. I am the awareness that is always witnessing, basically. But often when we start to use you are pure being, pure, people get excited and they go into imagination very fast. But what they point to, it's a very simple and direct, concrete fact. I'm always aware of what is here, of this. You can be unpleasant or pleasant, but I'm always, I'm highly sensitive. This is me. It's beautiful.
The mind hates that phrase, this, you're always in step one.
Yeah.
It hates it because it wants something more complicated to get somewhere.
Mm.
Oh.
But you see, you use the word, the mind hate this. People think that because they say the word hate, they feel it. No. Most of the time, when people name emotion and you ask them, where do you feel it in the body? I don't feel it in the body. So there is two things here. Either you have an emotion and it must have a somatic part, or you are thinking about it. It's not an emotion.
Oh, and that's huge, separating those.
Yeah, but they are separated. I mean, they are
But not,
differentiated.
yeah. When do I feel and when do I just see that's just a thought?
Yeah,
And it takes becoming sensitive to that.
yeah, yeah. It will. If you do this, you will see your life become emotionally more and more neutral. But there is the bliss of your own being that start to shine forth more constantly over time. Which, you know, every time you thought is naming emotions, and when you search for them, they are not there. Hey, this, and there is a story. And when you go into the body, well, I feel tightness in the chest, but that's okay. It's not like, I hate that. It's just, tight. That's fine. So you can be with the emotion, but when you are with the story, it's unbearable. So the real struggle is the story. But when you go into emotion most of the time, and for mm, almost a lot of beings and humans, the actual sensation, it's okay to be with.
You just said something that I realized that there was some confusion around. And it's just the way my mind has interpreted everything. Um, that you said basically truth shines forth. And I actually experienced that as you said that. I felt an opening,
Mm.
and it answered a question, because I've done all this emotional work of trying to get rid of stuff and thinking when I get rid of stuff, I'll be more stable or more whatever, um, emotionally balanced. But what you said um, feels more truthful, and it
Mm.
feels more truthful from my own experience. Because last week when I had this epiphany around joy, um, it came from a different place. It was like, oh, it was shining forth. And when you were speaking earlier on this satsang, and I understood some thing was realized, it was the shining forth.
Mm.
Nothing has to drop away. Nothing has to disappear. It's an yeah, it was that shining forth is huge.
It is. We There is nothing to get rid of. And that's what I was saying at the beginning with the stop, right? When you say stop, that's an energy that want to get rid of something. When you want to get rid of something, you said to enter into conflict, inner conflict. Because where will you put this thing that you want to get rid of?
Yeah.
You know, nothing can step out of your experience. And that's why I think it's important to be authentic. And that's, I start to doubt about how authentic people are on the non-duality field, or I wonder how much authenticity there is, really. You know, and the only way to navigate this mess of teachers, of different books, of infinity of traditions, for all of us individually, is to be authentic with what's happening to me right now in my experience and what is useful. And that's about it. Now today this is very useful. Well, I let it shine, I let it open, and things happen. And at some point, maybe it will just vanish and something new will happen. And this is the unfoldment of life. And if you are authentic with yourself, and you stick with your direct experience, that's fine. Everything is fine. Because again, you are always in step one, so you never achieve anything or arrive anywhere. Yes, Doris, you have a question? Or?
I think it's really rude to totally disregard me for all this time and to make
Uh,
it like focused on one person. I
I
feel,
apologize.
well, it's really interesting, and but it's too, it's too, it's not considerate, to include other people, and and I feel a lot of sensation, I must say,
okay, so
and
now pause. Now you see, this is the very process, right? For you, Doris, for Glenda, and for myself right now. You see, something is happening, and very fast we can go into stories about it. What I should have done, what should have happened, all of those stories. Yeah. What is very interesting is something is happening now. What do I feel about it? What is the actual direct sensation of it right now?
Well, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of what
Yeah.
I'm feeling and I'm aware of the sensation.
Okay, so we will take just few minutes to just be with this sensation. And try to feel where it is in the body, what kind of intensity it has. And that's where the will, that's one way of, when you feel some activation, the easy way is to not even name it. When you feel the emotion, there is names and you can name it, but then you can feel, is it a vibration? Where is this vibration? Where it is located? If it's in the belly, it is in the front of the belly, in the middle, in the back, more in the back, more in the left, more in the right. And we don't approach the sensation from a willing to change it or to modify it. Yeah, we feel what is here. And often what happens is the thought will try to go into the past. Oh, this has happened. This person said this, and I did this, so therefore I am guilty or not guilty. I should have, I shouldn't have. And based on this story, it will start to build an identity. I'm a nice person. I'm a bad person. I should improve. Drop all of it. Drop the whole package, the whole thing of thoughts. If you are willing to do, you can just drop it completely and you will see it disappear. But you don't negate the sensation and you stay with the sensing part. Are you following, Doris? Are you feeling the way to be with the sensation, with the raw sensation?
Yeah, but I think words, thoughts are very important and shouldn't be disregarded. And also emotions are important. So yeah.
Well, you can be attached to your thoughts and be attached to your emotion. That's perfectly fine.
Well, I feel like you're being judgmental,
You
that
you are
I'm attached, you say.
well. I'm just naming that you say that thoughts are very important to you. I
Well,
just
to
refer.
understand, I
I
think it's
just name
important to,
it that yeah. I'm listening. That for
it's
you, your
important
thoughts are very very important. That's fine.
because in order to understand, I think thoughts are important.
Yeah,
In
that's
order,
that's why that's what we were talking with Glenda about. The understanding of thought has a limitation. A thought cannot understand a sensation.
that they can help understand why there's the sensation in the first place.
Really?
Yeah, because of childhood. I mean, this whole thing reminded me as of being a child when I was totally ignored, and so I think it happens sometimes not irregularly with you,
Yeah.
and
So you see, that's the thought in the past, right?
yeah,
So now I am aware that there is work with the story and they connect the story and the emotion and they repattern the thoughts and this and that's very nice. That's respectable. What I am proposing here is a bit different. And as you are, and as you are aware of this possibility, I'm reminding you of this possibility that it is possible right now to let go of this story.
okay. If I don't associate it with my past and just stay with the present, I yeah, I can do that.
Do you see that the emotion you felt or you still feel, I don't know, is happening right now, right?
Right.
Okay. Where is your childhood happening?
It just helps understand why I'm feeling it so strongly because I know
Okay.
what happened in my childhood.
Okay, so now that you know where it come from, do you still need thoughts?
No, but I think they're important for a while.
Okay, but right now, are they helping you?
No,
So why they're important right now?
they're not. I'm saying at one point they are important to help understand, like in the beginning.
Okay, but right now, are you at the beginning?
I'm not thinking about the past right now. I'm feeling my fucking sensations. I'm really angry.
Yeah. So now there is anger again.
It hasn't left.
Okay, so there is anger present in you. And at first, your mind were telling you that you were angry because of what the people on the screen were doing or not doing. And after a few minutes talks, you realize again, oh no, that comes from a thought in the past, from a story in the
And the
past.
present. And
Yeah.
it's also happening in the present. And it
No,
just makes sense
that's a misinterpretation from your part.
of what I'm hearing and seeing. That's a misinterpretation
No,
of what.
your association between the cause of your emotion is what Glenda or I did.
Well, I'm not a robot. I'm sensitive to my environment and what's happening.
Okay. But do you see that the emotion arises from a wrong interpretation?
No,
You don't see it.
no. What's the wrong interpretation?
That you believe that the cause of your emotion is in the behavior, it is in my behavior, let's say.
Well, currently, yeah.
Oh, that's a wrong interpretation.
How is that wrong?
How can I produce an emotion in you?
Well, you could trigger something. Someone is torturing someone else, for instance, and they say, "Oh, it's your problem. You're responding this way," as if they don't have anything to do with it. I mean, this is an extreme comparison, but
I understand that you want to take extreme comparison, but I think we can stay with you. Make it very personal, no?
okay, what?
So how can I produce an emotion in you?
I don't know, but you managed to do it
And you tell this, but Adi, how?
by your behavior. I respond a certain way.
Yeah, you see, the interesting part here is I respond. You see? So you perceive something and your mind and your system make an interpretation onto it. Yeah. It make an assumption. In that case, they are ignoring me. Yeah. That seemed to be your interpretation of the situation. And your own interpretation is producing anger. So your anger doesn't come from what Glenda was saying or the way Glenda was behaving or acting or her behavior. It doesn't come from what I say or my behavior. It comes from your own interpretation of it.
Okay.
Do you see that? Do you see this mechanism?
Yeah, it makes total sense to me that I would interpret it and get angry the way I did.
Okay. So when you understand this, the way I propose to deal with this process is to learn to be with the emotion in a somatic way. And to dive deeper and deeper into your emotion, one of the first steps is you have to put thought on the side. If you cannot feel a sensation if you think about it. But it can get very, very subtle. Like I was talking with Glenda. Some people think that they are angry, but often they don't feel anger. It's just the mind that is in shock. But the body doesn't feel really any somatic expression of any emotion, really. So there are emotions that are just thoughts. If you get rid of this, you get rid of a huge part of the emotional reactivity. And then when you go into the emotion, if you get rid of the story about the emotion, you get rid of another huge aspect of it. Then you have to learn to hold a raw emotion, which contain also an interpretation which is very, very light. It's possible to be with anger, to raw anger. If you are with raw anger without story, it's way more intense to be with it, but it's way more simple. Or you choose the complex path of dealing with thought and all of this process, which is highly complex um, and less intense. This we go into the fire. One of my teacher has this beautiful expression of planting a lotus in fire. That's the process. So you take the anger without concept, without story, and you take the raw emotion. But to do this, you have to almost, at least for a while, to let go of thoughts. Otherwise, you will stay in the loop of thinking. And instead of diving into the emotion, you will agitate the thought and the story and the thought and the story and the thought and the story. And that's why some people go into therapy forever and nothing really get healed of anything. Because the thought can produce story forever. Because it is time and space, so that's what it has. It can, there is no worry for it. It can produce stories.
So when I was feeling agitated, I should just let myself feel the sensations of that and forget about any story or emotion. Just stay with the sensation and not open my mouth, not express how I feel.
Well, that's a very interesting part. What is beautiful in a sad song is there is something happening when we are together. And that's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. It allows resonance. It allows some mirroring. Things are happening. I don't want, doesn't, don't, we don't need to really name it, but something is happening when we are together, just like it happened now. Something trigger you, probably because something happening Glenda, and something happening in me. When something happens, it is about everyone concerned. Okay, but that's great. But there is a way to express yourself, and you can learn to express yourself that way, and you will think that way, and then you will feel that way, is to understand that no one is guilty, no one is responsible, and there is no resentment needed. The possibility could have to raise your hand and say, look guys, I feel left, I feel left on the side, I feel lonely, I don't feel seen, and I'm sad about it. And I wonder if we can if you can recognize me, if you saw me, if you see I'm here, it's very different. But probably the inner sensation is probably the same. Because often anger, it's a protection for sadness or fear. So I'm not saying you cannot speak out. And that's beautiful. When you speak, we can dive into it. And that's fine. And when I say you have to drop the thought, I'm not saying shut up and just feel your pain. I'm saying all the process that I just pointed to. There's a moment for expression, and there's a moment where you have to face the emotion as it is, the sensation as it is. So you are very welcome to speak, and you are very welcome to express yourself, of course. And I want to say, I saw you on the screen, and I recognize you, and I didn't speak, but I saw you, and I was looking at you on the screen. But because it is a screen, we cannot look in the eyes, which in the presence would be completely different feeling. But I felt that Glenda and I were in a kind of in a trip, and I wanted this trip to unfold until its end. And its end was you speaking, which is not an end, but it was part of it. And now we are riffing into something else. So nothing changed. It's the same wave that change and morph constantly. And that's what we are riding, experiencing. And the wave has no end because there is no beach.
If you would have just acknowledged my presence at some point, or just said, Doris, I know that you're there, but Glenda and I are on a roll here, and this is very useful exploration. Just that would have been really helpful, just to say something. Instead, I just sat there, and it built up and built up and built up before I finally kind of exploded. And yeah.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying about to express myself and say what I'm feeling, but to do it sooner would have been helpful. And that's, instead of letting it build up like that.
Yeah, well, you are right. I always try to be welcome and to acknowledge everyone present. And um, we can always do better, and we can always grow in sensitivity. So you are right. I probably could have. Maybe next time when someone is appearing and I'm looking at him and I look at the screen, I can say, but you are right. That can be nice for the space that we are creating. It can be beautiful. And this process I'm talking about is beautiful because the more you are with your sensation don't build up very much. Because when you feel them constantly, the intensity rise, but there is no pressure back. There is no opposition that allow an explosion to happen. So the intensity grow, and maybe at some point there is an action, or there is a word, or there is something, a strong, behavior that emerge. But it's not. I don't feel like an explosion. It just feel like the inevitability of the action and behavior. Right? It happened with my son when I am with my son and he's doing something like jumping on me, jumping on me, jumping on me, jumping on me. Can you stop? 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 At some point, there is something that put a very strong boundary because apparently it's needed. But I don't explode. I don't throw my emotion and my pain because he's jumping on me into him. I express a strong boundary. Stop. I can't. This has to stop in one way or another because it cannot continue. You see, so there is the possibility of speaking out, of action, but it comes from a different place.
Yeah.
And how do you feel now? You see that you are spoken up. We all of this has happened.
Oh, yeah. And so I should take responsibility then, instead of you saying anything to acknowledge me. I should take the responsibility of speaking up. And
But maybe, and what you say can be interesting, but right, my question is, how do you feel? What is the sensation? Is there an emotional tone in your experience right now?
uh, hmm, I feel a little judgmental, I think, towards you.
Okay, where is this judgment in the body?
I don't know.
You see, that's the difficulty. We feel an emotion, so there is an emotional reaction to it. And then we lose touch completely with sensation, and we are back into thoughts, navigating thoughts and healing, where it come from, and blah 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 blah. I mean, blah blah blah. I don't want to diminish the process, but I'm just naming that we don't feel the sensation, the emotion build up, we explode, and then we put everything back up and we start to speak about spirituality and how to heal. We have to stay in touch with sensing. It's a huge part of our experience, and it's an amazingly beautiful part. It's really, it's
Okay, I'm feeling angry.
okay, that's nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that's kind of the process. And often when you are not used to it, it's easier to begin with pleasurable sensation, neutral and pleasurable sensation. That's why if you feel your feet on the floor, often is neutral and nice. If you take a shower, you can find the perfect temperature of the shower, and you find the perfect spot that sometimes the water hits you exactly when it's perfect, and you find the perfect spot, perfect temperature, and you feel that. You just feel the flow of the water, and you feel it, and you see that there's nothing to think about there. But it's a very present, it's a present and very intense experience, and you feel it, and you feel it, and you feel it. And if you can do this for 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, it's already very good. But you will see how fast you get distracted, which is fine. Which is fine. There's no right or wrong. And I shouldn't have said time, because and then you are timing, and it's even worse. No, it's just be with what is present.
Also, I'd like to say something about the earlier discussion about non-duality, not including the body. I think that's changed a lot. And one way, I mean, I think there's more consciousness of the body now in non-duality. Just depends who you're talking to. But the diamond approach, that's their main focus is sensations. And that's been around for 35 years, and that's very non-dual. But it believes sensations are foundational. And it's always trying to inculcate the habit of being aware of sensation. And Jean Klein, same thing, the body, very important. And so I just don't want the whole non-duality to be painted with the same brush, because there are definite differences.
Well, mostly of what my process went through Eric Barret, which was a student of Jean-Claude.
Oh, excuse me, what was the name?
Eric Barret, it's
Oh,
a
I know that.
French.
I
Yeah,
know who he is.
yeah. I went to his seminars, and And his presence, it's like a sun in the darkness. It's beautiful being, just amazing. So yeah, it is. I'm not pretending that I'm inventing something. And when I make generalities, is more for the pleasure of talking. Obviously, non-duality. There is many different approach. But thank you to remind me. And yeah, you are right. There is more and more consciousness onto sensations. But
Okay. Yep.
the difficulty I'm having, it's what we call the tantric approach, which come from the Kashmir Shivaism. It has been taken in the West often as a sexual approach or a way to be intimate with the opposite sex, you know. So I think we have to be. That's why I'm a little bit careful with using words. But this approach, it's falling in love with the, the sensation of your body, falling in love with the feel of sensing. So the true tantric approach has nothing to do about people. It has to do about falling in love with yourself. And yourself is this experience that is here. And one door is sensing. One door is appreciate the the texture of sensation, the texture of what we call a sensation, but it's really a vibration. And when you follow this vibration, it starts to open up, and it's really wonderful. It's really wonderful. But this treasure is hidden. It's not really hidden, but it's just below thought and below the emotional reactivity. When you jump in, you jump you go below this, you feel the joy that John was talking about. It's just there, completely, just like it's a radiance completely there. And when you feel it, you see it was always there, yeah, because it's outside of time. So and then maybe things happen and the texture of experience change. And personally, by the making of this wheel and the process through which it had come up to me or revealed to me, I realized that I cannot do everything because I did a lot of somatic therapy, trauma-based, with Peter Levine. You know, I did uh, somatic birth processing with very nice teachers and beautiful healing there. Beautiful things has happened, and I was approached with A Course in Miracles, which was like a devotion path when you're devoted to God completely. And now I see I start to be specialized in this, and I'm aware it's not for everyone. I'm not pretending that it is for everyone, but I'm saying that to me it's very enjoyable, and it really it's a very good mix of everything I have been through everything I've been. It to me it makes beautifully the the perinatal birth therapy because when you work with babies and with imprints that come from the birth to support someone going through this, you have yourself, you need to have done the work. Otherwise, you can follow the other one there. And when you go into the imprint, they are non-conceptual because there wasn't a mind to make sense of those energy, of those sensation at the moment. So when you dive into there, you enter into a complete, into a field of pure sensation. And when you are in a group and and you dive into this when you are 6 or 8 people and one people have 3 to 5 hours to dive into this space, the whole room and everything kind of disappear and the mind disappear and everything, and everyone go dive into it. So it's really beautiful. They are beautiful approach. And but to me, they're very connected to the divine approach, which is I don't understand anything, but I open my heart to God, and I just call the light, and and you don't care about anything. You just pray and you open your heart to God, and you do nothing else. That's beautiful also. And I feel that this approach, which is I would say similar to the Kashmir Shivaism, but I would never pretend that it is because I'm not a specialist of this tradition. It is very, very similar in the sense that it's a direct contact with experience directly. And it is very devotional, just like this approach, which is highly devotional to Shiva, which in the West people forget, right? And they take everything, but they forgot about it's about God. It's about, receiving God in you. So what I'm proposing is to dive into raw sensation, yeah, with the minimum of thought or thinking possible, just to support the diving. And the devotion is when you feel this radiance within you that shine forth, and you you give everything to it. You're like, okay, I let you hold everything, my thoughts, my life, my problems, and you just allow this inner light to shine on everything. I am sorry, I trip a little bit. I hope I didn't lose you. But that's a little bit uh, the flavor of what I propose. Did it
It's
make
beautiful.
Yeah, makes
It
sense?
it makes sense. And I appreciate you, Doris, bringing up Jean Klein. And then I didn't realize your teacher was that guy.
Eric Barret.
And I really like Jean Klein, but until this moment, this is like the joy I'm feeling right now. I hadn't understood Jean Klein.
Ah,
Yeah, I mean, he resonated with me and it made sense, but I didn't understand the slow movements until you were moving your hand. And so you brought this understanding of
yeah.
sensation to me today that I other teachers just, although they were saying the words, something transmitted today in a different way.
Mm.
And I'm so grateful for Doris speaking up too about attention, because what is amazing to me is I'm normally the one feeling like I'm not getting an attention. And normally when I speak very quickly and get it over with and stop speaking because I want to make space for other people because I can't take up any space. But today I was just going, I love this and I'm going to allow it. And many times I saw you there, Doris, and I almost spoke up and said, Doris, I'm sorry for, if you have anything to say, please speak up. And I said, no, I'm not going to be a people pleaser. I'm going to keep going. And so even though my heart is with you, Doris, and I know exactly what you're going through, there was something in me today was doing the opposite to my trauma stuff. And so I think this has been wonderful for me to see both sides of it. I mean, I'm in so much, I feel so blessed right now. Yeah.
We are all traveling together.
Wow.
This is a joint adventure. And that's why group meetings, satsang, are so powerful. I'm very grateful for both of you to be present, for your presence, for your time, for your interest. I really appreciate it. And when you feel this appreciation at this moment, just drop below the thoughts. It is very quick to make stories about the joy, right? Own this pleasure, right? Own this joy by being, by feeling it, by letting it expand within you. Okay, I think it's a very nice place to end the meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Glenda, for your presence. Thank you, Doris. And yeah, if you have any question, Glenda, you can write to me and I will do my best to answer you if I can. And you, of course, Doris, you know that I'm always available. Okay. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Doris.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you both.